Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. I am Joe, and I'm your host every Tuesday evening right here on WNRI from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. And guess what we talk about? Real estate. This is a show for you, the consumer. We talk about just concerns and issues that home buyers, home sellers, prospective home buyers and home sellers, and even renters may be interested in hearing about. And I work at a company called Remax Preferred. I've been a realtor since 2006, and I work with buyers and sellers of residential and commercial property in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And I have a network of partners around the country and actually in other countries as well to help you with your global real estate needs. So the market, once again, has still been pretty vibrant. And I want to share a little information because you've heard me talk about Lawrence Yun before. He is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, and his track record has been pretty spot on regarding prognostications and estimating where the market is going to go. And he was saying that in his most recent post that he doesn't see mortgage rates going below 6%. So, we're bouncing around in the low to high sixes now. And, the Fed did lower the Fed funds rate in September, and mortgage rates since then have pretty much gone up. And I point this out because the Fed funds rate is not mortgage interest rates. The Fed funds rate has to do with short-term interest rates, not long-term interest rates. And the mortgage is a long-term product. So that is, where we are right now. So the rates are bouncing around in the sixes, and maybe they'll settle in the first quarter of 25 at 6%. And that's probably going to be where they end up for the foreseeable future. Home sales, demand is going to continue to be very strong in my estimation because there aren't a lot of homes for people to buy. And as we all know from Econ 101, if demand is stronger than supply, that pushes prices higher. All right, so what the end of that is going to mean fewer home sales. So when you hear the headlines that say home sales are down, the reason that home sales will be down in the headlines is because there aren't any homes for people to buy. So, we have a little over 1,000 homes right now that are in Rhode Island MLS for sale, single-family homes. That number should be way more than double. It should be about 2.5 times more than where it is. Now, where we are is about 400 listings more than we had a few months ago. So that's good. We've, taken steps towards addressing the tight inventory. However, as interest rates have come down, more buyers can come to the party. So now that creates more demand. What I do want to point out, and I talked about this in previous shows, the equity accumulation rate in Rhode Island is double digits, 10, 11, 12%. That's where we are. Multifamilies are in the high 9s, 9.8, 9.9. So it's still strong. Most of the rest of the country is in single digits or low single digits. Some areas are actually losing equity accumulation. In other words, prices, values are going down. We're not experiencing that. And we experienced this increase in equity accumulation when mortgage rates were in the 8s. So that means even when rates were in the 8s, there was still strong enough demand to push prices higher. So let that sink in for a minute and reflect on the fact that now mortgage interest rates are in the 6s. And I'm going to pull up my trusty Mortgage News Daily to get my unbiased mortgage interest rates. And I do this because I don't like to quote any of my lender's rates and not quote another lender's rates. This is just a website, mortgagenewsdaily.com. And the 30-year fixed rate, as it is on Mortgage News Daily, is 6.62. The 30-year FHA 6.09, the 30-year VA 6.1. Now the VA is a great loan because you can get into it with no money down and you do not have to pay PMI, private mortgage insurance. The FHA product, you can get into it with low money down. You need a 3.5% deposit, but you have to pay PMI. And that can be anywhere from a couple of hundred to several $100 a month, depending upon the home that you're buying. A conventional mortgage, that I quoted at the 6.62, that there is no PMI because you're putting down, you have more skin in the game. Okay, you're putting down a large deposit. So the rates that I'm quoting, folks, you may be able to get better rates than this with some lenders, and you may get rates that are higher, and that is usually dependent upon your credit history, how much you're putting down, and then the type of home you're buying. Okay, if you're not buying a single family home to live in, everything other than that, the rate is going to be higher. So if it's a multifamily home, if it's a vacation home, if it's an investment property, if it's a condominium, those rates are all higher than the rates we're talking about today. So this is just essentially like a guide for you to have a thumbnail idea about what's going on with interest rates. So again, when the home values in Rhode Island increased significantly, they did that while mortgage rates were in the 8% range. So the fact that now we're in the call it 6.5, okay? That's a lot lower. Now, even if you have not, the best credit, let's say you're in the 600s, all right, maybe you're not going to get the 6.62, maybe you're going to get a 6.75 or a 6.8 or something like that. It's still lower than it was. Even if you get a 7.25, it's still lower than people were receiving previously. So that means more people can come to the party and try and buy houses. And I call it a party, but it really isn't a party because it can be dreadful for buyers who are trying to submit offers, and they finally find a house and they submit an offer and they don't get it because someone had a bigger deposit or they were paying cash. 28% of all homes purchased are cash purchases. So it's either someone who sold a bigger house and is buying a smaller house, getting a home equity loan from mom and dad, getting cash from mom and dad, inheritance money, something like that. About 28% of all home purchases are cash. And then you have probably another 20-25% of home purchases that are large deposits. So if you're coming in and putting an offer on a house and you're putting in 3.5% down, and the seller receives other offers, let's say they're exactly the same as yours on price and whether or not the seller is being asked to pay the buyer's agent's compensation, let's say that's all the same. If someone is coming in and they're putting 20% down, and someone else is putting 3.5% down, the one who's putting the larger deposit is going to be a more secure offer, because if something pops up during the home inspection, they more likely than not can afford to take care of those issues, whatever they may be. Okay? And those issues do arise. That being said, I want to segue into our special guest tonight, my buddy, John Daskam from GoFixxit, out of Cumberland, Rhode Island. John, welcome back to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show.
Joe, thrilled to be here, man. So excited to be back. How long has it been?
It's probably been close to 2 years, right?
At least a couple of years.
I don't know. Time flies. This is my 11th year. I can't believe I've been on the air 11 years.
I think I saw something. Was it 594 episodes?
Yeah.
Is that's
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You've been doing it and crushing it and doing a great job. But
Yeah.
thrilled to be back, man. Really
Good.
appreciate the opportunity.
So we were talking before. First, tell our listeners a little bit about what you guys do and the scope of your work, because
Sure.
you guys do lots.
We do.
You
We
know?
do a little bit of everything. So Joe, our goal, we've been in construction now for 24 years, which again, almost half my life, which is just crazy to
God.
think. Yeah, right before 2021. So back in 2020, we started it. 2001, we started really a commercial contracting business, and we ran that, specialized in the hospitality industry, did a lot of university work, did a lot of fit-up work, office fit-up, and the market started crashing 08, 09. And my business partner and I started looking at ourselves and saying, okay, how can we help and bring value to other areas? And at the time, many of my clients had similar problems, right? We worked on their commercial property, or their restaurant, and they said, hey, we're having similar issues, John. We've got this work at the house that needs to get done, whether it be roofing or painting or siding or plumbing, and we're just having trouble identifying good contractors that'll show up, call back, follow up. So my business partner and I started looking at ourselves and saying, listen, this might be a market that we can kind of dive into. We've been in the construction world for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
We know the business. We've got some great partners in the industry. Let's see if this works, right?
Yep.
And we started helping clients on the residential side, which we've been doing, and officially launched the company back in 2014, September 2014. So we've been at it for 10 years.
Holy crap! It's been 10 years,
10 years
already.
Man. 10 years, man. Yeah.
Oh my
so
goodness.
we rebranded the company. Rebranded the company to GoFixxit.com.
Yeah.
So that's 2 X's. So you can check us out online, or certainly on any of the Facebook or internet, Instagram or whatnot. But yeah, started back 10 years ago, helping
Wow.
clients, homeowners, certainly buyers and sellers, with really anything that they need accomplished at the house. And,
Yep.
and you talked about that, right? So
Yep.
we do a little bit of everything. And I think, what house or what project really has just one trade? Oftentimes there's 2 or 3 trades. And that's where it gets difficult, Joe, is that coordination, right? And I always kind of use the example of a client potentially wants to, do some tile in their bathroom, right?
Right.
And they call a tile guy, and the tile guy shows up, and the tile guy looks at the job, and the tile guy, potentially takes some notes or information, and then just you never hear from them, right? And
Yeah.
one of the reasons is not because he doesn't want to do the job, but what he doesn't want to do is doesn't want to do the demo, doesn't want to pull the vanity, doesn't want to pull the toilet, doesn't want to pull the baseboard, doesn't want to do all that pre-work. They just
Yeah.
want a tile, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where we come in, where we can kind of help clients
Mhm.
and then bring in the appropriate subcontractors, put the plan together, if you will, and then get the job done,
Yeah.
which is great.
That's
So,
good.
Yeah.
Have you noticed since rates have started to come down? I've had have lenders on frequently, and they're seeing a lot of folks refinancing their mortgages because if you've got something that's in the, let's say, the 5s or the high 4s, and now they've got all this equity and they want to do some work on the house, they're going to refinance it, or sometimes even throw in car loans or whatnot to bring down their monthly payout.
Sure.
Have you guys been the beneficiaries of the lower interest rates? If you started to see that type of thing happening yet?
We have like bigger additions, bigger
Yeah.
projects that we've seen a lot
Mhm.
lately. They're like, hey, I could sell my house and make all the money, but the next house I buy, I'm going to be paying all the money. So
Right.
why not stay here, right?
Yep.
So we're seeing a lot of that. 3rd floor addition,
Mm-hmm.
some dormers on another house, big kitchens and bathroom remodels. So we're seeing a lot of that where clients are staying in
Yep.
their home existing, and then obviously renovating and making some changes and saying, what, this might be a house that we stay in forever, but making good choices, right?
Yeah.
I think anytime you mess with or renovate bathrooms and kitchens, you're always going to get that money back.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's always a
Yeah.
wise investment.
Right.
Even basement remodels, I got to be honest. I mean, we've done quite a few of those. We're doing one
Oh,
in
really?
Barrington now,
Okay.
which ironically, I always tell clients, take that square foot price of that sale,
Yeah.
and then add another 1,500 square feet. My math and the math on if you sell it
Yeah.
is way greater. So a
Yeah.
lot of value in basement remodels as well. So
Yep.
be thoughtful of that.
Now, hopefully it's not near that, or I know it's not the house because it was new construction. But did you hear about the house in Barrington where they were building a new house,
Okay.
and they found skeletal remains
No.
from like Native American tribes? It's like a couple hundred
Oh my
years
gosh,
old.
I didn't hear that. Wow, that's-
I'm like,
What are you doing?
Right. It's like, does that mean I can't build my house now?
Oh my
The guy
gosh.
he or she probably paid over $1 million for the lot because it was
I-
right on the water.
I bet. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I did see a funny TikTok a while ago where the contractor did a little renovation to a front porch.
Yep.
And when he had it opened up, put like a fake skeleton in underneath the porch. So, 30 years down the road when they decided to make a change, man, it would freak them out. So I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of funny. But we don't mess around and do anything.
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is nice to see clients moving in. But a big part of the job that we do, and it's one that I wanted to talk to you about. I didn't know if you had any math with regards to like home inspections.
Mhm.
But really, over the last few years, it's been challenging. A lot of folks have been waiving that home inspection, which
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
think is a good decision.
No, I do not advise
Right?
it ever.
Not advise it, right? Because there's always some deficiencies. So we help clients a lot on that, whether it's preparing that house for sale, getting it ready for sale, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of paint, a little repair, so that client
Yep.
doesn't think something is, you know, that new buyer doesn't think that the roof is bad.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that for clients, and then certainly after, you know, when that repair addendum comes out, right, there's those handful of 10 or 15 things.
Yep.
You know, instead of trying to negotiate and navigate between multiple contractors, you call us,
Right.
and we can help you with all of it.
Yeah.
You know, which is a nice thing. I was on one today,
Yeah.
which was great in Cranston. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good, yeah, because, you know, and the thing, folks, you know, John mentioned skipping a home inspection is just never advisable. Unless you're someone like John, where you know what to look for and you're a contractor. Okay, then he can skip the inspection because he's buying the house and he knows what needs to be done. But he's going to look at it himself and do it, you know,
Correct.
his own inspection,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Never advisable. And it's, you see the market changing. That's one of the things I'll say over the next, you know, the last 6 months. We've got more realtors calling us saying, hey, listen, we have some deficiencies. Can you come help us?
Yeah.
You know, navigate through these things and put some pricing together for them to help them with the purchase, and then certainly help them to get it repaired once they move in, which is great.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice to see.
Yeah,
And there's always something, right?
right.
Yeah.
Now, talk a little bit about like the scope of your, because okay, you can redo bathrooms, you can do flooring, you can finish basements. What other, do you do like wholesale additions? Do you do exterior siding?
Absolutely.
Do you do windows? Like,
Yeah, anything you can think of other than really landscape.
Yep.
We're doing a nice big hardscape project, and we are bringing a landscaper in that we're traditionally not. But yeah, anything that you need, from roofing to siding to new windows to complete renovations to just, we'll paint a wall or put a storm door in as well, you know,
Yep.
for that transaction to make it happen. So we're not afraid of the small stuff, and a lot of times it's tough getting a good quality contractor for small work. So
Yeah.
again, the smallest job we've ever done, I think we put window locks in for a customer.
Oh, wow.
She had taken them off, painted them, couldn't put them back on, so we did that. But yeah, we'll do additions, we'll do big stuff, small stuff. Yeah, not afraid of anything really.
And of course, folks, I want to point out that they are licensed and insured. It's just like everyone I have on this show is licensed and insured. They're professional, ethical. You know, and I would never have any question about referring any of my clients or even just friends and, you know, a consumer off the street, referring them to GoFixxit.
I appreciate that.
You know,
That's
because
huge.
they do they just do a great job.
Yeah, the one thing we do too, I think different, is really our detail and the scope. I know you talk about
Oh,
the
yeah.
scope and the breadth of what we do, but certainly I think we really help clients navigate. I mean, you would never build a brand new house, Joe, or do a kitchen remodel without a set of drawings or documents, you know.
Right.
And I know this isn't sexy and isn't fun, but I'll tell you, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
Because not only does it protect the homeowner, but it also protects us and the contractors that are working on. So let's say you are doing that bathroom remodel. We're going to give you a 5 or 6 page document that is going to detail everything from
Yeah.
demo to, you know, wall framing to tile.
It's all in
to-
black and
it's
white.
all in black and white. So
Yeah.
you know when you get that price from GoFixxit, it's all included. Now, you know, there might be something that adds, or you open a wall up and you need to move some plumbing,
Right.
some unforeseen conditions. But for the most part, we spell it all out, so you know. And trust me, I've been doing it 25 years. We
Yeah.
work with contractors every day. I often get a little line item that says, you know, hey, we're going to do this for X, and you need to worry about, you need to be concerned with that, right?
Right.
The devil's in the details.
Exactly.
You know, and we do that for every customer, whether we're installing a storm door, you know, refinishing some hardwood floors, or, you know, doing a complete remodel and an addition project. So that's kind of our value add, I think. And we do that for free,
Yep.
and we spend a lot of time doing it, you know.
Now, do you have and I know the answer to this, but I'm going
Yeah,
to ask it
that's okay.
anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Any do you work, like, let's say someone has an insurance claim, and let's say I don't know, the hot water tank leaked, and then it damaged a hardwood floor or whatever it is, and there was an insurance claim. Do you work with insurance companies?
We do. We've done that. I've helped, again, another remodel job where an insurance company had quoted, you know, a value. We went on there. They use a program called Xactimate. Most of those insurance companies in that. It's an estimating software that all these insurance companies use. And we'll review that for that customer, help them with that process. So we're able to get them, you know, about $13,000 additional money that
Wow,
just was
yeah.
kind of missed,
Yep.
right? So yeah, we do that. We don't do the cleanup side, but we do the rebuild work. So
Yep.
absolutely, yeah, do a lot of that and help clients through it. Yeah.
That being said, I want to mention, we have a great sponsor, Vern Rainville, who is a public insurance adjuster, folks. He's licensed by the state of Rhode Island, 484-300-8495. That's his number. Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster. He works great with contractors. He works great with the insurance adjusters that work for the insurance companies. He knows how to talk. He talks their language. And he's been in the business a long time too. He's another dinosaur like us. So if you have any claim, even if it's as much as 2 years ago, Vern can help you. 484-300-8495. That's Vern Rainville, public insurance adjuster.
Great idea to have them, them on there. They just understand, right?
Yeah.
That program, they understand, what needs to get done.
Yeah.
Very valuable to have them on board. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't think the insurance company, they're probably looking at so many projects. Right. And, these guys, like having a public adjuster like that is really important to see behind the walls, if you will.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
To contemplate everything, right?
Because they know, like, well, when this happens, this usually happens. Where if you're the insurance company that's going to be writing the check, you're not going to do any extra digging to see if there's more damage that you're responsible for.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it, right? You're in a room, and let's say one wall is opened up and there's a wall covering on it. Well, there's no way I'm going to match that wall covering on the 3 other walls. And oftentimes that's not in that original quote. So having somebody like that in your corner is a huge help. Yeah. Right? Yeah, huge.
I just thought of something. You were talking about you guys, everything's in black and white. Your paperwork is so paramount. And folks, one of the great ways for people to remodel, update, improve their houses is using a loan product called a 203K loan. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera around to look at me so you can see my expression if you're watching. This loan it's a great product. It can be, the points and things like that can be a little expensive because there's a lot of review and a lot of work that goes into it that other than, swinging hammers and painting and things like that. And so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a fantastic product because it allows folks to get top-notch work done, like the work you would get from GoFixxit. And these guys are great at working with the paperwork required for the FHA 203K loan product. A lot of contractors, they can be like, Michelangelo of contractors, but if they're not good with paperwork, it's not going to happen. And they're probably going to get intimidated and not even want to do the job. So, they're going to delay and whatnot, and that can be problematic. And when you work with GoFixxit, they are just spot on with their paperwork, so it's second nature for them to deal with all the requirements for the FHA 203K, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I appreciate that, Joe. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how some programs or situations you guys have done.
Yeah. So 203K, it allows clients to put the construction into the financing, which is great. You don't have to come up with it out of pocket, and they don't limit you to anything, right? And I don't know if the wording is correct, but there's like the streamline, which is less than 25,000, and then certainly anything over that. Is a full 203K.
Correct.
At that point, you need a HUD consultant, and we work with a number of them as well. But it's kind of nice. You've got someone on your side, kind of as an owner's rep, the eyes and ears. They'll review the project, review requisitions. But yeah, the paperwork is incredible.
Yeah.
But coming from the commercial world, where we would get spec books the size of Encyclopedia Britannicas, it's really easy. Yeah. The banks want you to break out everything with labor and materials. A lot of contractors don't like to mess with that stuff, and we love it, honestly. And we've done 50 of them, right? From small stuff to stuff that's over 100,000. And the cool thing is you can do any type of renovation, from putting windows in to refinishing floors or doing painting, roofing. We've masonry work, repair. We've done a little bit of everything on it, but great product. We work with a number of local banks. And with a bunch of clients as well on a number of things. So if you have a 203K loan and trying to find somebody on the contractor side
highly
to
recommend
support
GoFixxit
in that, And the other thing too, Joe, like there's a due diligence period.
Right.
So not only is it just putting paperwork together, but it's getting that pricing in time, right? Yeah.
And you have to be able to wait to get paid.
Correct. Yeah.
That's another thing. Like small guys, they can't afford to front $30,000 for a job and then wait 30 days to get
Correct.
paid.
Correct. Yeah, the
You know.
streamline is cool. They give you half up front,
Mhm.
or a third, and then you get the balance. But anything over that with a HUD consult, you got to actually start doing the work
Yeah.
before you get paid, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they have to come out and evaluate, and they cut your check, which is cool. But
Yeah.
at least it's guaranteed. But it's good work. We love it,
Mhm.
and love to help anybody out there who needs
So
help.
if someone, of course, they can reach you by going to GoFixxit.com with 2 X's.
Correct.
Or if they wanted to reach you, what are some ways they could reach you, either on social
Yeah,
or
social,
telephone? Or,
Instagram is a big one. We have great, catalog of all of our stuff, and that's
Mhm.
Go Fix It 5. So again, 2 X's there, and then we're on Facebook, same thing, Go
Yep.
Fix It. And I can give you our office number as well if you want me to throw
Yeah,
that out there.
definitely.
That's 401-352-0222.
Nice
so you
and
can leave
easy.
A message. Yeah, piece of cake.
Yep.
GoFixit.com is probably the easiest. You can go on there. There's a contact page. There's a number of areas you can look at our previous work. Easy to navigate, which
Mhm.
is kind of cool. We just updated that website a couple of months ago, so we're pretty
Good.
proud of it. But yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, here to just help clients, buyers and sellers with whatever they need.
Yep.
Yeah,
And folks, you may be wondering, saying, "Oh, I'd like to get this work done, but before I can have the floors done in my house or other work done, I've got to get my furniture moved. I can't move that myself. It's too heavy. I'm too weak. I'm too old. Whatever it is, I don't have the time." Well, for that, you would call GMETS Moving, and just check them out at their website, gmetsmoving.com. They're the premier mover for Southern New England, and they will take jobs as small as, even though they're a big moving company, just moving furniture from one side of the house to another. Or they can take your furniture out of the house, if it's a big job, and just store it in their facility. And then when the job is done, they can bring it back. That's GMETS Moving. Check them out at gmetsmoving.com. You can get a price quote, and you can schedule a move at their website.
cool.
Yeah, so websites makes it a lot easier
is
because
amazing, yeah.
you think about this stuff at 10 o'clock at night,
I know.
and you just say, "Oh, let me go check it." Whereas you're never going to call someone to, get someone on the phone at that night, at that hour of the night.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can do a lot on the websites.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. Clients moving into their new house,
Mhm.
working on a condo right here in Cumberland. We do a bunch in Providence.
Yeah.
They just wanted that. Hey, hardwood floors, want to paint it, want to put some new light fixtures in, kind of personalize that
Yep.
home. So if that new buyer is moving in and want to make some changes, I went into a house today, man. There was wall covering on the ceiling. It was pretty wild. I did not take a photo because I was moving quick
Oh
to
my
get out there,
gosh!
but I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're going to keep that, right? But
Yeah.
we can take that off for you. So whatever you need, right, to personalize that house.
Yeah.
As little as, changing toilets out if they have to, and
Yep.
vanities, and kind of just making it your own,
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, do you guys also do radon systems?
we do. We work with a number of,
So,
local
and the reason I'm asking is
Mhm.
because our wonderful legislature, they're trying to pass a law next year that would require all homeowners to do a radon test before they list their home for sale.
No kidding.
So, folks, if you're listing your home for sale and the government says you've got to do a radon test, and then it comes back and you have to install a radon mitigation system, that's going to be $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, whatever the number is that you have to pay before you can sell your house.
Sure.
So what's going to happen to the sales price of that house? It's going to go up.
It's going to go up. Sure.
And I don't get it. Everybody talks about the affordability of housing, but then they make it harder for people to afford houses. They're just adding more problems, more issues that homeowners have to deal with.
Yeah. I grew up in dirt floors in my basement. I think my first house. That's cool, right? I made it to 54, Joe, right? What's going on, man?
Yeah, really. I know.
Why are they getting so strict? I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They make it more difficult, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So-
think it's a good preventative thing. Certainly you should have one, and or at least get tested, certainly. But
Yeah.
to make that a, part of the sale is
Right.
kind of difficult, right? So-
Yeah, because that was before I put my house on the market. So I've got to, I want to focus on getting it to my new home, not
Exactly.
spending money. Now, if you have the test after it's under agreement and it comes up high, great. But now that's something else that you can negotiate with the buyer,
Correct.
because maybe, all right, I'll give you $1,000 credit so you can do it, Mr. Buyer.
Exactly. Yeah,
So it's no cash out of the seller's pocket.
exactly. Yeah,
So.
amazing.
Folks, you are listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI.com, 99.9 FM, 1380 on the AM dial. We also rebroadcast the show every Saturday at 1 p.m. And usually about an hour after the show wraps up, JR uploads it to Spotify so you can check it out as a podcast. And then I also, most weeks, recorded and posted on either LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. So you can see what, you can see that I really do have a face for radio.
Yeah, you do.
So
You look good.
I want to talk a little bit more, John. I always ask people, what are some of the craziest things you've ever encountered in your job history with the company? In other words, has it been something like that, oh my gosh, this is just so horrible, or oh my gosh, this is just the Taj Mahal now that we're done, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, we've seen some funky things, right? I've seen some funky things in my day. Absolutely, safes in cool spots, neat stuff. I think for me though, the thing that I love about this business and what kind of motivates me every day, and I have this term, kind of thoughts create things, and it's really neat to see something when a client potentially has a thought or an idea. Let's just say a kitchen or a bathroom remodel, and they reach out on the internet or they ask some friends, and then they get connected to GoFixxit somehow, and I'm standing in their living room or their kitchen or their bathroom, and they're going through these thoughts and ideas, whether they've got some pictures and from Pinterest, or they're like, this is what we want to create. And in 15, 20 minutes, I've got to articulate and kind of extrapolate that out of their mind.
Right.
Create a plan, take some photos, and then, execute. And, you take those, the pink bathrooms, right, or the yellow, or the green tile that we're trying to get rid of, right, those cast iron tubs that are green and pink, and, you blow that whole thing up, and then all of a sudden we get there, and, guys show up, and it creates to something amazing, and it's exactly when a client says it's exactly what I envisioned. Yeah. When I started this process, it's pretty cool. You take some amazing photos. Unfortunately, I can't sample it. It's not like if I do your kitchen, then they're going to let me come and cook. So so it's not like I can use it. But I love that, Joe. I love that about
so it's got to be, so if like someone comes to you, which would probably be me, and says, hey, I want to redo my whatever, but I just want something new, and you get like a blank slate. You guys have the creativity and the imagination to put something together that will be, timely and current and beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just modernizing it.
Right.
How many it's amazing for us to go into bathrooms and still see them, from the 60s and 70s. It's shocking, but it's so cool, I feel like, we do so many of that work, and we haven't even tackled a small sample of it. But to see that, and every client's a little different, and every client wants something a little different. That modern farmhouse is really popular, but to see other clients that pick certain tile, or a cabinet that's different, so every project is a little bit different, and every project takes on the character of our client. And for me, like I said, I just get so excited to sit there from the beginning and take those photos, like those before and afters. You mentioned that, like online when we put that, you see that before shot and that after. It's incredible, man, and that's why I say that thoughts create things. Like, it's amazing that came to fruition in a short period of time. Everybody wants it tomorrow. You know? It's the one thing with construction I try to tell clients and educate them. We're not Amazon. Right? It's not like you can go online and
get it done in a day.
Your package is going to get delivered, in the morning. It's a process, right? It's dirty, it's dusty, it takes time and effort, but we're handcrafting it, right?
Right, exactly.
It's neat, man. We take everything apart and we build it back, right? And put it together. It's not like we're in a shop and we can put your kitchen together and show up in 5-6 weeks and just pop it in. We're literally handcrafting and putting that together with talented individuals and coordination and management. Craftsmen, and coordination and management. So, I love the process. I think it's really cool. I wish it could go faster. It doesn't. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes you'd run into unforeseen conditions like we talked about. But I think that's the greatest thing for me. To see that. And you've mentioned that before. You're like, oh, cool, that's a great photo. What did it look like before? Oh, you don't want to know.
Right. Yeah. They won't let me take a picture.
No, I know.
So now a lot of the, most of the houses that are coming on the market for sale are typically you get divorces, you get folks who are passing away, you get folks who are transitioning into assisted living or nursing homes, and some of the buyers may be folks who are looking to buy something that they can just my last house, I want to move in, and so they might be looking at a house that, let's say someone is transitioning into assisted living or a nursing home, hasn't been updated in 30, 40, 50 years. And now we've got to buy their, hey, this is a ranch, it's in a good neighborhood. You can go in and you can do the work necessary. So they have like a step-in shower, get rid of that cast iron tub and make it so it's something that looks great, but then also has functionality and purpose so they can stay there for another, 20 years.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
just the client yesterday, she was looking at, a house in Cranston and needed this third floor bathroom, or a second floor bathroom actually, in this small kind of cape, and just the feasibility. Was it possible, John? So they brought me in, realtor brought me in, and then looked at the kitchen and looked at a couple other things, right? Kitchen was really small, and I said, take out these two corner windows and now you can expand the cabinetry. And they're like, oh my gosh, like,
Right.
that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I've been in thousands and thousands of kitchens to see
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
That's the only way to do, right? We can take that radiator out, no
Right.
problem, put a little strip of baseboard, and now we can get more cabinets in there for you. So,
Yeah.
and again, this client said, if I can't get a bathroom up here, then I can't buy this house. And I'm like,
Oh.
it's feasible. We can do it, and this is how we'll do it. There's always a way,
Yeah.
right? I think, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So just having that, that insight, if you will, or time, and it's just doing multiple projects, right?
Yeah.
That can help clients navigate through that. Like if they can't see, because some clients can't, right? It's tough, right?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like? Well, show me some pictures of what you're like, and we'll get you there.
Now, do you have like the software that if someone says, okay, we're going to put these kitchen cabinets in and this floor and these the granite or quartz or whatever it is, they can kind of do a digital rendering of what it will look like when it's done?
So we're not designers,
Okay.
but I do collaborate with some local great companies. I've
Okay.
got a couple architects that I work with. So we're doing a Providence project where there's 3 decks and porches, so
Yep.
more practical approach like additions. So I bring that gentleman in, and they can help that client navigate, and he'll do nice CAD drawings, which we can then build off of and then take for permitting. And then I do have a lot of my cabinet. I've got a couple of cabinet relationships and some interior people where if clients do want those renderings or help with those color selections, then we again collaborate with them, and I would hand them off and make a positive introduction.
So that makes it
get that
easier
done.
for the customer to basically
Visualize
see
that.
what it's going to look like when it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
done.
Yeah. I'm on the construction side where I'm giving you the detail, but you're right.
Yep.
Sometimes it's difficult to kind of understand if you don't do
Yeah.
it every day. Our documents, we try to make them simple enough, so not so technical,
Right.
so you don't know what the heck we're talking about. But yeah, so we've got those relationships that I can help clients navigate.
excellent.
Because again, full circle, right? It's really
Yep.
tough. Hey, I'm contemplating doing an addition. Where do I go?
Right.
Do I go to designer first?
Mhm.
Do I go to contractor first? Right.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of collaboration, that design build approach
Mhm.
that we can help, which is great. That's that, job in Rumford where we're doing
Right.
a 3rd floor attic and blowing out some dormers. So we have to go to design first to kind of help them navigate through, and then
Yeah.
I'll come in and support that pricing kind of on the backside to help them get it done.
And talk a little bit about, because when you're doing all this work, you talk about submitting plans for approval. Like, so if you've got to go to the municipality, the city, or the town,
Correct.
you guys know how to do that. Talk a
do.
little bit about that so our listeners will understand kind of the scope of what's involved there.
Yeah, it's always kind of a, some clients, honestly, they come to me, they're like, we don't want to go to permit. But really, if you're doing any structural work, or if you're doing plumbing and electrical, really important
Right.
to go to the town and get permitting. And we can navigate and help. If it's a bigger project where it's an addition or a kitchen remodel, then there's
Yep.
some drawings done. If it's a deck project, sometimes, right, we're footing locations and framing.
Right.
We'll do some hand sketches and help those clients with that to submit. But yeah, if it's just a kitchen remodel or a little bathroom remodel or whatnot, we'll go to the town and obtain all those permits. The respective plumbers and electricians would pull their permits off our building permit.
Yep.
So yeah, we can help with that, and we coordinate it all. And now there's multiple stages, right? So typically, you know, you do the demo and then you do some rough framing. So then the town would come in for a framing inspection. Then the mechanical guys would come in, so the plumbers and electricians and HVAC. When they're done with their rough work, then they'll bring those respective officials in to
Yep.
evaluate that. Then insulation, we have an inspection. Drywall now, Joe, it's unbelievable. They want to make sure that you're putting the right screws in and there's enough screws per sheet, especially
Wow.
for ceiling work. That's kind
Really?
of a new one that they want to come out and inspect the you know, the installation of the
Yeah.
drywall, which is cool, before you close the walls up and finish, right? And then typically after that, you're kind of home free until the final building inspection. So yeah, which is great. So we'll help coordinate, manage that, right? We call the, you know, the municipalities, the building inspectors, and make that happen for you.
So,
Yeah.
folks, this is significant because it's one less thing you, as the homeowner, have to do. And a lot of times, people, you know, you've got to go to town hall, city hall when they're open, which is when most people work, and you know it can be frustrating. When you're working with someone that's experienced and has the attention to detail, they can do all this for you. So this is the type of thing that you may not see it, you know, in the final build, but it's all of like in the prep work before they can do the other, you know, finish work, the pretty stuff. You have to do all this, you know, lay all the groundwork. The whole thing, fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and they help you not prepare to fail. You want to, you know, be prepared so that you can identify what needs to be done. You know, I just caught myself thinking. One of the things that I always talk about that I try to do, and then also even you know, one of our sponsors at Compass Title is yet very good at identifying potential speed bumps or potholes or problems down the road. So if we can identify a problem far enough in advance, it doesn't have to delay the transaction, or in your case, I would think delay the project. You know, if you can go in and say, okay, we're going to do all this and we're going to quote it X to do this job, but Mr. and Mrs. you know Smith, if it looks like, I can't be sure until we open it up, but if you know, you can probably identify a potential based on the style of the house, when it was built, where it is, or whatever.
Correct.
I would imagine you have that
Absolutely.
skill and that kind of, you know, you can
Yeah.
divine that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the scopes and the details are so important that we put together, and we contemplate all that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there was a time as a commercial contractor where, you know, you'd get a limited drawing set that didn't have a lot of detail, and you have two choices as a general contractor. You can price what's on the set,
Right.
which is lack of information, or you make the decision to price the set like you know it, right? That,
Oh, yeah.
that light fixture needs to get moved, right?
Right.
This needs to have happened. And sometimes we priced ourselves out of jobs,
Yeah.
and clients came back to us and said, you know what, after all the scope changes and all the stuff that they went through, your price was actually less expensive.
Yeah.
So we try to contemplate everything that needs to get done to help that client. And again, as I always said, that scope document not only protects the homeowner, right, but it also helps the trades as well, and they appreciate that as well, right? 'Cause who wants to be in the job and say, oh, you know what, we did talk about that, and maybe it was a conversation, but it
Right.
wasn't written, and they didn't, you know, they didn't price it necessarily, right? Nobody wants that. So, and vice versa, you don't want to miss something, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's happened, right? Hey, John, you know, we quoted moving that switch. Well,
Right.
you're right. It's right on the document. I got it. I'm
Yeah.
moving it, right? I'm paying for it. So
Yeah.
so it helps everybody, which is good. But yeah, we try to think and be thoughtful of all the stuff that needs to get done in a project,
Yep.
and certainly the coordination of the team to get it done.
Now around here we have, especially here in Woonsocket on the north end, we have a lot of old housing stock, like the Victorian stuff with all the intricate, you know, inlay on the floors and banisters and things like
Beautiful.
that. Have you guys? I know the answer to the question again.
Yeah.
Have you guys worked a lot with houses like this? You know, in the north end, on the east side of Providence, and other
do.
areas
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we do. We do a lot on the east side. We did Victorian house clients putting it on for sale. They wanted us to prepare. They had some shingle damage. They had their front porch, beautiful porch. The handrails were all messed up. The porch needed to be painted. We had to cut scalloped, shingles and then put it all back together for them so they
Wow.
could put it on for sale. And client said to me today, like, I cannot believe how nice my porch looks. You know, I
Yeah.
kind of don't want to leave.
Right.
You
Yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know what took you so long. Right? That happens, right? Everybody gets busy, but yeah, we've been very fortunate to work on some beautiful homes,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the east side. Yeah, yeah, it's just really nice stuff. Yeah, which is great.
So now we had talked earlier, and I'm sorry, jumping back
Yeah.
about doing additions and whatnot. Have you worked with folks? The big term now is ADUs, accessory dwelling units. Have you worked
Some.
with folks doing something like that? Because hey, we've got to bring, grandma's down in Florida. She's like, the house got wiped out. We're sick and tired of it. Our homeowners insurance is $10,000 a year. We're going to bring her back up here, but we need to put an addition on. We need to finish that upper level. We need to. Have you worked with folks, homeowners, to accommodate those types of
We
needs?
have, not enough. I would
Mhm.
like to do more. You know, the VA, we were doing some work, I think, a few years ago.
Mhm.
So it seemed like that kind of went away a little bit. We're doing a handicap ramp in Attleboro, Mass,
Mhm.
changing out a door.
Yep.
So we have in the past. I would love to do more of that just to help clients, whether, even moving switches down, right? Because
Mhm.
now you're in a wheelchair, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Making grab bars. We do that a lot in bathrooms,
Mhm.
you know, and new tile work. We'll put grab bars and to help that. But love to do more of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have. Yeah.
So, folks, again, if you want to have, mom and dad or grandma and grandpa move in and help you, cut down on the cost of your home ownership and keep the family closer together, this multi-generational living is becoming more common, and it makes a lot of sense. So, if you need, or you're just curious, jeepers, I wonder how much it would cost if I wanted to do something like that in my house. All you have to do is give John a call. And John, what's the number again?
Yeah, it's 401-352-0222.
Great.
Yeah.
And you can also go to GoFixxit.com. That's GoFixxit with 2 X's. And
It's a great point too. Like we have had some conversation where clients are, where the kids, right? They're married, they're moving
Mhm.
into the main house, and hey, let's build an addition in the back for mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
Taking smaller space, if you will,
Yeah.
or that, again, that basement is a great opportunity to potentially do that in-law, if you
Mhm.
will. So if you want to stay in that family home forever, it's certainly possible. We can make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And folks, it's great too because sometimes you have the parents that will turn and sell their main house, and they'll contribute money to
Correct.
the adult kids to pay for that in-law accessory dwelling unit, the addition, remodeling, whatever. So it's actually a win-win because now, the mortgage payment that the house has is still the same, but you have someone else help, kicking in, for your payments, and mom and dad can stay close, or just mom or dad, or whatever the situation is.
Built-in babysitter.
Built-in
We
babysitter.
can make the walls soundproof, right?
Right, yeah.
We can make separate entrances so it's not too close, but
Yep.
it is close. You
Yep.
know? So yeah, great idea.
Now, what if they have a basement and there's no exterior access? Is that absolutely a non-starter for putting an in-law downstairs?
No, not at all. We've put egress windows in, right? We've done a number of those egress windows, and then certainly bulkheads, right? We can do that. Whether it's
Now, explain to our listeners a little bit about an egress window.
Yeah, so an egress window is just a larger window. Typically, it'll come with like a big pit. Have you seen those basement windows where they have those little window wells?
Yep.
Well, think of that as being probably 5 times the size of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. They have like a little ladder that gets up. There's a big window that you can just push out, or usually it's a sliding window, which the fire department likes, and
Yep.
it gives you, again, that ability to get out of that house really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've done a number of those where now the basement becomes viable, or they say, hey, my daughter might be in that basement, I want to have a window or availability
Right.
to get out of the house quickly. So
Yep.
yeah, it usually takes some excavation, right?
Yeah, 'cause you have to
And,
cut through the
you
foundation
gotta cut
and
through the foundation,
dig up the
exactly.
soil and
Yeah,
whatnot.
to create that bigger window, if you will. But they're great, right?
Yeah.
Let in a ton of light. You can put a little
Yeah.
cover on them, which is kind of cool too,
Yep.
so water doesn't get in there. But yeah, we do a lot of that as well. Yeah.
So, folks, this is one of the things that, as a realtor, when I'm working with a buyer and I know what their needs are, I just did it today. I had a buyer, and we were looking at a house, and it has an in-law in the basement, but there's no exterior access. So one of the things I did was I had her walk around the house with me to identify where she could put one of these larger windows in if she decided to put an offer in on the house, because that way makes it easier for her, in this case her mother, to live down there. and it meets the code, so that the city would not have an objection to putting a bedroom, downstairs.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
So that
Being creative, right? Being creative.
you have to be creative.
To try to
And the thing is, what I try to do, I always try to add value to the transaction. So I'm going to try and see what I can do if my client wants to buy this house, what I can educate them about little things they could do to add lots of value and lots of usefulness to the house. So, I have no idea what something like that would cost. It would vary from one house to the next. But whatever that dollar amount is, I guarantee you it's a lot less every month than what it would cost for mom to be paying rent when, median rent's like close to $2,000 in this state.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. And you do a 203K loan, you roll it right
Right.
into a 30-year mortgage. What's the difference?
Yeah.
What's it going to cost? A
Mhm.
couple $100 extra a month,
Right.
and now you take a house that wasn't viable to now a house that is viable, right?
Yeah.
That fits all the needs. right?
Exactly. And that's a way for you as a buyer in this market where we have too many buyers. You can out-position yourself, because maybe a lot of other buyers are saying, oh, I need the exterior access. But now you can find a way, you know what, I'll take the house without the exterior access because I'll put it in myself.
Correct. Yeah. And
You know.
find a company that can do it for you. Yeah. And
And
easily
a company
manage
like
that.
GoFixxit. I
Exactly.
heard about this company,
Yeah,
GoFixxit. They
that's
do a
it.
great job at that.
That's it. Yeah, we can help them.
Yeah, GoFixxit.com.
We'll do the painting, but we'll let those guys do the tough stuff, right?
Right,
The
yeah.
egress window, but helps you get in, right?
Yeah.
Or you feel a lot safer. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, good idea.
Yep.
Yeah, good idea. Being creative, man. It's the only way to do it, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes, because every house it's never going to be perfect. Have you ever
Right.
had a client, right? I know they say it. This is my perfect. This is dream
Right.
home, but they're always going to make some changes, wouldn't you think? Or
Mhm.
would like to anyway.
Yeah,
And we can do it, right?
Yeah.
It's all possible. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. It's nothing that scares us.
right. And I'm glad you said that, because that's important, folks. There's nothing that scares them, because they know they have the imagination, they have the skills, and the knowledge on how to make things happen that other folks may not. John mentioned earlier that he's been in thousands of homes.
Thousands.
I'm the same way. I tell
Yeah.
my wife gets tired of hearing it. It's like, honey, I've been in thousands of homes. I have seen, this is what I've seen. I've never seen that,
Yeah. It
So.
is amazing. And what happens is sometimes when you run into a contractor that, that they don't, maybe that's not their expertise,
Mhm.
they may try to steer you away from that,
Right.
that possibility, because let's face it, I mean, everybody is niche today,
Mhm.
right? It's interesting. We didn't talk really about some of the stable of guys we have, but we're seeing in the industry where everybody's specialized, right? I've
Right.
got a group that just finishes hardwood floors. They don't install them, right? And
Oh,
I've got
yeah.
a group that installs them and doesn't finish them. So
Right.
if you happen to bump into someone where you need install, but you
Mhm.
call the finish guy,
Yeah.
they may never call you back. It's not because they don't care,
Right.
right? But that's not what they do, or they don't feel comfortable with that. And I
Mhm.
think that's what's kind of really neat about whatever you need. We take all that information in and we bring the appropriate team in
Yep.
that specializes in that area to get the job done. The other thing I always say to clients as well is, listen, we're dealing with humans, Joe. Things
Yeah.
happen, right?
Yep.
Things happen where a situation, maybe you're not happy with a certain contractor, right?
Mhm.
The cool thing is we've got, let's say a painter for whatever reason, has a tough month, right?
Yeah.
Death in the family or something happens and they go, AWOL.
Yeah.
The cool thing with us is you're hiring us, so we've got a stable to plug
You
somebody
can
else.
slide someone else,
Yeah.
slide someone else in. Yeah.
Yeah, where if you've made a commitment to a contractor and that happens, which is never, it's difficult,
Mhm.
then you're kind of stuck, right? And that's what's kind of nice. Another protection, I think, for clients
Yeah.
that and things happen. We've had some mess ups along the way, right?
Mhm.
We've
Yeah.
had-
Everybody's human.
Everybody's human, man. One of our clients, we retiled their whole floor. They did radiant floor heating,
Mm-hmm.
and my contractor cut the wire. And we had to rip up the whole floor and redo it,
Yeah.
and we did it.
Right.
We did it, right? So things happen, right? Things happen.
You
So-
have right, because
yeah.
you have the capacity to, well, first of all, the professionalism and ethics to say, you know what, our mistake, my bad,
My bad.
and
Yep.
you have the capacity to go back and do it
Exactly.
the right way.
Exactly. We
You
always
know,
do.
to fix
Never
it.
walk away. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Never walk away to get it done.
And I'm sure everybody listening has heard at least one horror story of someone who had a situation where a contractor just didn't want to deal with their problem anymore and never returned phone
Yeah.
calls, and they took their money and they ran.
Yeah, it stinks. I don't think anybody sets out to do that. I think everyone sets out to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is though, do they underbid it? There's many scenarios, right? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't think of that when
Mhm.
it started. That's why it's almost like having some protection. You've got an outside source that is not looking just for the benefit of us in a contract. We're looking at the whole scope of
Yeah.
the job, right? Okay, how are we going to get this done, right?
Mhm.
What do I need to do? What are the steps that I need to take? And trust me, every house we go into, it's different, right?
Yeah.
One house we're ripping out the wall tile in the bathroom and we're putting wainscoting. Another
Yeah.
house we're putting drywall. Another
Yeah.
house we're putting new tile. Another,
Yep.
right? So it's, although we've done thousands of bathrooms, it
Mhm.
seems like everyone's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have the knowledge and the team to kind of make that happen,
Yep.
and we contemplate all of that, which is good.
Now
to a
te-
fault, maybe, but
Right.
but you have to.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you have to.
Now tell me, one of the things that people say, why did you stop doing commercial and do more residential? I mean, I do both, but I focus on residential because from my perspective, it's more of a scalable business.
Mhm.
Because even though there's some variation, if I'm selling a colonial, in Warwick or selling a colonial in Woonsocket, it's pretty much the same, the same transaction.
Mhm.
Have you found that type of, whereas on a commercial property, that could, you're selling the same 2,000 square foot gas station in Warwick and another one in Cumberland, are two entirely different transactions.
Mhm.
Have you noticed a parallel like that going from commercial to residential?
We have a very different transaction, right?
Yeah.
Commercial, very unemotional.
Mhm.
I find, right?
Yep.
And then now, obviously, on the residential side, oh my gosh, you're stepping into somebody's home, right?
Right.
We're going to disturb that home. On the commercial side, usually, it's business. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
Just get it done, So it is. It's very different, and I
Yeah.
like it. I do like it because
Good.
I think the client buys in more. I think
Yeah,
the
I mean,
client's more
it's
involved.
apparent, right?
Yeah.
You guys, you do a great job. You were very passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And that being said, I want to thank you for coming on the show this
Of
week.
course.
Yeah,
Joe, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
I feel like we could have talked for like 4 hours.
Exactly, I know, but we'll have you on. We'll have you on again. We
That'd
won't
be
wait as
awesome.
long.
I know.
And
I
everyone,
appreciate
I want to thank you for tuning into the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI 99.9 FM. We will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye bye.